Welcome to Inspiring Possible. I'm Christy Pennison, former stuck person turned therapist and dream consultant. Are you feeling stuck, overwhelmed, uncertain, or just need a little inspiration? Then I want to help you gain the clarity, confidence, and courage to create possibilities and live a life you love. Because folks, life's too short to be miserable. YOLO, everybody. I hope your week is going well. I hope you can tell I'm having a good day, or at least trying to. So welcome back to the podcast. I really do hope you're having a good day. And, it just reminds me of, sometimes how our day goes is a choice. I don't know if you've ever had those mornings where everything does not go according to plan. I have literally had mornings where I'm like, this is how it's going to go. I'm going to get up. I'm going to have a great rhythm and routine of the morning. And then everything that I intend to do either doesn't get done or it goes real south real quick, right? I mean, it happens sometimes, folks. We are living. We are doing this thing called life. And sometimes life just don't go according to plan. True story, don't go according to plan. However, there is some good news, folks. Good news. Guess what? You can always choose. Even if it's not going according to plan, you can choose how you're going to respond to what's not going according to plan. And this is not always easy because sometimes we just want to say, I give up, I surrender, I throw my white flag. And don't get me wrong, if you're having a bad day, it's okay to stop and rest a minute. But you want to get back up, ask for help to get back up if you need, if you have a hard time getting off the ground. And finding a way to take an intentional step forward every day is going to get you a little bit further along the path than where you started. Don't underestimate the power of showing up every day and doing just a little bit. It can sometimes have a compound effect, and then you wake up and you're like, whoa, how did this happen? And I guess I'm thinking about this, okay, because I recently celebrated a birthday. We all have them as if we make it to it. There was one day that we were not, and then there was a day that we were, which means that one day, somehow, we made it out into the world. And maybe we were little babies, but then one day we grow up a little bit older and we grow up a little bit older. And every year there's that day that you remember, I am alive. And at one point I wasn't, but today I am. And at one point I will not be alive anymore. So let's go ahead and celebrate while we're here. And so birthdays always bring up a lot of thoughts for me, a lot of actually gratitudes mainly. I mainly get really grateful for life and grateful to be alive and grateful for how far things have came in my life. And it doesn't mean that every day I wake up with sunshine and rainbows and skip around like a unicorn. No, that's not how life always goes. But I think we do have a choice of what we choose to focus on. And one thing that I've learned about this life is that choosing to focus on the things that we are grateful for, the things that we have, it doesn't mean that we ignore the bad or that we try to put our head in the sand about things that are maybe challenging in our life. It doesn't mean that we sit with discomfort and we embrace discomfort like we've talked about a few episodes ago. But it does mean that we choose to acknowledge the things that are going right in our life or the people that are important to us in our life versus what is going wrong. And for me, I think the more I'm grateful, the more I just continue to be grateful. It's crazy. Like sometimes people ask me like, Christy, you crying again? And I'm like, it's tears of gratitude, truly, most of the time. Because there's just certain things I look at my life and I think, wow, I can't imagine that this is where I am right now if I allow myself long enough to reflect on those things. So as I've been having this birthday situation where I turned another year older, I've been reflecting on that, but I've also been reflecting on not just what I'm grateful for, but what has helped me get from where I was to where I am today. And, as we have this podcast, it's called Inspiring Possible. One of the things that I try to bring to you is things that I've learned along the journey, with the disclaimer that I haven't figured it all out. I'm on the journey with you. I am learning each and every day. So there may be one day that I listen back to this podcast episode and think, Christy, that was not it. But for right now, this is what I believe. So I'm going to share it with you. And I've learned a lot of things from getting to where I was, even 8 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 years ago. And I think our birthdays are one of those times where you really reflect on, hey, where was I at this age? Where was I at that age? Or at least that's me. I do a lot of reflection around birthday time. And so one of the things that I've realized that I wanted to come on and talk about today, besides how to incorporate gratitude into the mix, which that was not what I was intending to talk about. But if you've figured this out about me so far, I get scattered sometimes, and that's where I landed. So we're going to go with that. Gratitude, practice gratitude daily. Actually do it for a year and then come back to me and see how your life has changed. Trust and believe it will be like way different. So just write 3 gratitudes down a day. It could be, I'm grateful for my tennis shoes I got on, and see how differently life would be in a year. Email me in a year. Okay. But the thing I want to talk about, I'm going to get to it. I bet you're like, what is she going to talk about? That helped me get from where I was to where I am, and will also help me get to where I want to be. And it's something that you're gonna be a little bit surprised, I think. And it starts with an A. Can anybody guess it? Anybody? Wait, I forget y'all don't talk back to me. Okay, well, this is what it is. It is accountability. Accountability. Yes, that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. Accountability. Why is this important? And why am I coming to you today to say that this is what's helped me get to where I am and it's going to help me get to where I want to be? Is because when I'm doing hard things, new things, anything, I can give up really easily. Now, I know that may come as a shock to you all, but it is the reality. And I wonder if you struggle with, like me, please don't leave me alone hanging over here. But I just, when I really need to do something hard, I have a really great time at talking myself out of it. You know how it goes. I know you know how it goes. You start to say, I want to do this goal. I have this goal, this intention for 2024 that I want to make a reality. And then you start to look at every single thing that you're going to need to do to make that goal a reality. And you say to yourself, I might as well just quit right now. Seriously, I do it all the time. I'm like, that's who made up that goal? They were delusional. But then I realized, no, it was me that made up that goal and I wanted to make it a reality. And it may be hard, but I'm going to need some help. And what I've learned is that I need some structure, something, someone to hold me accountable to the things and intentions I have set. Because I know there's going to come a hard day where we talked about at the beginning where things are not going to go according to plan. And I am going to want to throw in the towel and sit on the sideline and put that dream, goal, intention on the shelf. And it is okay, let me disclaim a little bit, to sit and take a pause. Like, you can have seasons of rest in your life. That is perfectly okay. You can have a season of focusing on different priorities in your life or goals in your life versus other goals. This may be a season where you're focusing on your personal goals. Like, I want to focus on my relationships, and then my professional might take a little bit back burner this year. Or I may really want to focus on my health and me doing my health. I may not be prioritizing this other area of my life as much. But when you do have some intention or goal, no matter what it is that you're working towards, you need some accountability. And I think the best example of this in my life was that a few years ago, I really wanted to just improve my physical health. I wanted to be able to run a little bit short distance. I'm not a runner, folks, but I wanted to run a short distance. I wanted to be able to do a push-up. I just wanted to be able to move in some kind of fashion consistently. And I have found that doing that consistently just does wonders for your mental health, but that'll be another episode. And I knew that I didn't like to do those things, which means that like I didn't like to sweat. I didn't like to have a hard time breathing. I didn't like to like exert myself in a way where I felt like I was about to pass out somewhere. That was not my idea of fun. So I knew that if I wanted to make this goal a reality of some type of consistent movement that was ultimately going to help me support my health, then I knew it was going to be hard for me to do it alone. And I tried to do it alone. In fact, I donated a lot of money to a local gym and never showed up. I don't know if y'all ever done that. Y'all done that? And so what I realized though is that I needed some accountability. And so for me, I realized what accountability I needed. So all of us need different levels of accountability. For me, I knew I needed people that would notice when I didn't show up, okay, that would encourage me to show up if I didn't show up. And that while I was doing something hard, they were doing it with me and I wasn't alone. And they'd also be encouraging me to keep going when I wanted to just quit. And so I got involved in a gym that may or may not do CrossFit. Okay. And I know what you're saying. Some of y'all are listening to me and like, Christy, I can't believe that. You do CrossFit? And we do CrossFit style workouts where I go to the gym at. And I can just remember thinking that at one point, these people that did these kind of workouts had just lost their ever loving mind. And I just didn't know how they made it happen. But I said to myself, Christy, this is going to do all those things that you want to do. It's going to help you move your body. It's going to help you push yourself. It's going to help you. And it's going to be in a community. And I am proud to tell you today that I have been doing this CrossFit style workouts pretty consistently. I'm not saying that I don't miss a Monday or that I haven't went every day of the week. I mean, yes, folks, I'm human. I don't show up sometimes. However, I have showed up pretty consistently for the past 2.5 years. And it just seems like yesterday was crazy. And I can see the progress that I've made in 2.5 years. Now, am I a CrossFit Games athlete? Absolutely not. Can I do a pull up yet? No, I can't. But what I have been able to do is pretty incredible. And I think that what I've realized is that for me, accountability is not only needed, it's essential for me to create the changes that I want to create in my life. And I was thinking about this the other day and I was telling this story to somebody, but have y'all ever seen that movie Castaway with Tom Hanks? You know, he was like stranded on an island and then he decides to make Wilson, which is a soccer ball, a person, and he talks to him and Wilson is his buddy as he's doing things. And then when Wilson decides to float away, I mean, Tom Hanks is sad. He's real sad about his friend that he lost. And one of the things that story reminds me of is that we all need people, folks. We were never meant to be on an island alone and to do hard things, to create change, to lean into discomfort, to even try to change some of these limiting beliefs that we have. We need some type of accountability. And when you are able to consistently hold yourself accountable over a period of time, man, it does wonders for the self-esteem. It does wonders for your life. It does wonders for your goals. But you need to be honest with yourself about what you need to hold yourself accountable. And this is where I say that important phrase, know thyself. Some people are extremely self-disciplined and have great personal accountability, which means that they can say, I'm going to do this thing. They can put it on their calendar and they can do the thing consistently and show up. For some of us, it's a little bit more challenging. And so if we're going to make our goals a reality this year in whatever area of your life that you have, sometimes we need other people to hold us accountable. And one of the ways that we can do this is to, number one, hold ourselves accountable. So that means that you are busy. You're a busy person. I'm sure you're doing all kinds of things over there. And it's easy to fall off track from the path that you've set that you want to accomplish. But finding a way to routinely check in with yourself on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, I call this my personal check in to say, am I still making strides towards that goal? So that personal accountability could be something as easy, I think I've told y'all before, as a sticky note, where you just write your one thing that you're trying to get done either today or this week to make some movement towards that goal. Write it somewhere that you can remember it, and then give yourself a time where you're going to check in with yourself to make sure you're holding yourself accountable. If that is not working for you and you're like, oof, no, Christy, no, it's not working for me, then you may need some peer accountability. So that means you may need to call your friends up and say, hey guys, I want to accomplish some goals. Do you want to come join me? Now, the first time I ever did this, I kid you not, this was back in, was it 2019? 2019, before my life just really changed drastically, I'll be honest with you. I decided that I was going to be intentional about creating some change in my life and making them goals happen that year. And I said, you know what? I know myself. Here it goes. I knew myself back then. I'm like, I need help because I know I'm going to get 3 months in and I'm not going to focus on these goals. I'm not going to have a rhythm of a personal accountability. I'm going to write them, leave them, and not revisit them. So you know what I did? I took a picture of a book, Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt. And I put that sucker on the Facebook. And I said, listen, I'll call for some goal friends. If you want to achieve some goals this year, then this is what we're going to do. I'm going to set up a meeting. We're going to meet once a month. We're going to rotate to different people's houses. And if you come join this group, I want you to commit to showing up once a month. And it's going to be a group, so we're going to know if you're missing. And if you want to be intentional about making this happen, then come on over. And so I knew that I needed people to help me hold me accountable. So I created a group. So you might be thinking, Christy, I am not that brave. Well, if you don't want to create one, find one to join. And in fact, if you want to, you can go over to inspiringpossible.com and join the wait list of when we'll do a peer accountability group again in the future. It's kind of like a mastermind style, and it's a lot of fun, and we really create some traction on those goals. But you can find other groups to be a part of, or you can create your own. But there needs to be something that, or someone to help you stay committed to the things that you said you wanted to change this year. So find some like-minded people who can keep you on track. It is going to be so valuable to have an extra set of eyes on what you're doing. Because sometimes also people can see things that you might miss. So whether it is a coach, a group, a family member, someone that you can go tell them, hey, this is what I want to do this year. Will you help hold me accountable? And it'll help you move the needle forward. Like, now listen, I even got me a coach this year for some other physical health stuff. And I'm kind of low key avoiding this person right now, but I'm about to text him right now because I haven't been following through the goals. But that's what's great about having somebody hold you accountable, because they're going to come after you, and they're going to say, Christy, you said that this was your goal and you have not been following through on the things that you said that you were going to do to create this goal. And they're going to hold you accountable to what you said you wanted to do. And they're not going to blame or shame or anything. They're going to encourage, but also hold you accountable to yourself. And I think sometimes when it's hard for us to hold ourselves accountable, having somebody else hold us accountable can be a game changer. So this year, either set yourself on a routine to check in with yourself, check in on your goals, making that intentional step forward each month, or get yourself in some peer accountability group, something. I can tell you the one thing that has been a game changer for me is other people. Just like Tom Hanks and Wilson and Castaway, we all need a friend. And honestly, having a group of people that are holding you accountable, it's amazing because you get to celebrate the successes when you've made it. I'll never forget the first year I did that group. That was the year that I moved back to my hometown to start a therapy practice. That was the year, oh my gosh, so many things happened that I would have never, ever, ever imagined myself doing. They were scary, they were hard. But you know what? I actually drove back to the town that last month of that year, actually a few times to make sure and honor my commitment to do this group. And the things that our group did collectively that year were amazing. And at the end of that year, we got to celebrate the people that were still hanging on. We got to celebrate together all the amazing things that we were able to make happen. And what was really great is that we were able to give ourselves some props. And I can't tell y'all what it feels like. I mean, y'all want to know something that really feels really good in your life is when you know that you set an intention and you followed through. There is no other feeling like it that just is like, man, maybe I can do the next thing. And that is also what builds belief about yourself and about what's possible is showing up, honoring that intention, having these people walk the journey with you that are holding you accountable. It doesn't mean that they're expecting perfection. Just like I told y'all earlier about my own situation right now where I set a goal and I'm not doing great with it. But there's just something beautiful about walking a journey with people and having them support you along the journey. Just like my little CrossFit fam, shout out to y'all if y'all are listening. I love them people. I love them. And they are always like, if I'm gone, where was you at? You know, if there's something that celebrating like my birthday, they're saying happy birthday. See that all these things go together. So those people are people that are not only cheering you on, but they also are wanting to make sure that you honor the commitments to yourself. And the last thing I would say about accountability is that you do need to make sure and put it on your calendar. I don't know how you calendarize your life or if you have a calendar, but a lot of times many people live by their calendar. I've just found this to be true. In 2024, a lot of people have a calendar and they like live, breathe by that thing. And for you to be able to prioritize things in your life, you have to set some time aside that you will say, hey, I'm going to check in on how I'm doing with this goal that I'm working towards. And you can also learn from how you're doing. What did I do well? What did I do not so well? So in this thing where I was telling you about my physical health, my fitness coach, you know, one thing I'm not doing well is I went on vacation and I just said, forget it all. So see how easy that is to do? I did it. But you know what? One of the things that me revisiting it and having that accountability is to say, okay, it's time to recommit. It's time to recommit to this goal that I said. I'm not going to shame myself for falling off. I'm going to learn from the fact that what was it that caused me to not follow through on this? Oh, it was because I went on this trip, or it's because, you know, I was struggling with this aspect of what I was supposed to be doing and I didn't communicate my needs and we should have found another alternative. Like, you see how that goes? You learn from maybe what wasn't working, and that is going to help you find what is going to work and help you find the path forward to that goal that you set. And so make sure that you set some time aside somewhere and set it on a recurring basis, like we were talking about earlier, daily, weekly, monthly, so that you can check into your progress and identify what's working, what's not, so you can adjust your path that will ultimately help you get to that end goal that you've set for yourself. Remember, taking accountability is not always easy. You may not always be like me, where you want to be in some aspects of this journey. And that's okay. Don't let this discourage you. You can make the changes. You can make it happen. It just takes some people sometimes being in our corner, holding us to what we said we were going to do. And if you're really, really struggling, let me tell you something else that's helped. And you can go email me and I can help you out. And that is getting some type of coach or consultant. I kid you not. I've had my peers hold me accountable, but I've also had people that are coaches or consultants hold me accountable to the goals that I've said I wanted to create. And that, my friends, has been a game changer because they always bring me back to why it was important that I started this to begin with, why I set this goal to begin with, and remind me that there is a path forward even when I feel like giving up. So this year, I believe there are some incredible things that are in store for you, but it will require you to be accountable, not only to your goals, to yourself, but to also get some other people in the mix that will help you honor those commitments And then when you get to the end of the year, woo, you're going to celebrate good times. Come on. Let's celebrate. So y'all do it. And if you need some accountability, shoot me an email. Christy@ChristyPennison.com. You can find it if you got my name, you know how to spell it, Christy@ChristyPennison.com. And just let me know what you are wanting to do this year. And at least I'll have it there. And that way, in the back of my mind, you can know somebody knows about your goal and is going to be asking you about it later to make sure that you're honoring those commitments to yourself. So let's go create some possibilities, guys. And I'm really excited to let you know in our next episode, we're going to have some guests back. I'm still going to be popping in solo throughout the year, but I have an incredible guest that is really going to help you rethink how to move in to an abundant life this year. So I hope that you come on back, and I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for listening. I hope you have a fabulous day, and go be accountable. Go be accountable. Until next time. That's all for today on Inspiring Possible. If you found a little inspiration today, please go on over to iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you tune in to listen to leave us a comment and rate us. Also, make sure and link up with me at inspiringpossible.com to get the free Dream It, Write It, Do It workbook. And don't forget to follow us on social media and share this with anyone who needs to be inspired. Remember, if you can believe it, it's possible.